Good afternoon. I saw the other day Rav Tzvi Kluger in a Sefer Moloch on Rosh Hashana quoting a very interesting Malbim in Tehillim, which I want to share with you and maybe give some thoughts of my own. On Kapitel Kuf Lamed in Tehillim, Kapitel we all know, the pasuk says, Ki imcha hasalicha lema'an tivarei. Because forgiveness, slicha's forgiveness is with you in order that you should be feared. The Malbim says as follows, that there is a distinction between a human being who forgives someone who sinned against him and the way in which Hashem forgives. He says that when a person forgives, it's because something changed in the attitude of the person who wronged him. Perhaps the one who wronged him started to regret having done the wrong and asked for forgiveness. Or maybe he saw something in the behavior of the one who wronged him and that caused the one who was wronged to start having a little bit of rachmanis, of mercy on him. Or just the person who wronged him did something and the person who was wrong just started to like him. And therefore the Malbim wants to say that the forgiveness is not really being facilitated by the one offering the forgiveness, but rather it's being facilitated by the one who is receiving the forgiveness. By contrast, in the case of Hashem forgiving, it's always coming from Hashem. Because Hashem knows that the world could not exist if he didn't offer forgiveness. There's a medrash which says that Hashem said to Avram said to Hashem, if it's justice you want, you're not going to have a world. And if you want a world, stop looking for justice. And therefore, it's up to you. Either offer forgiveness or not. And additionally, the Malbim wants to say that the word used over here in Tehillim for forgiveness of slicha is creating a situation in which it's as if the wrongdoing never existed. He said that is something that is beyond the capacity of a human being to do. A human being cannot take something that exists and turn it into non-existent. And that's why the Malbim points out very interestingly that throughout Tanakh, you will never find the word slicha used in context of one person forgiving another. Slicha is only something that is godlike, that Hashem has the ability to wipe something away as if it no longer exists. And although the Malbim doesn't say this explicitly, but we know from the many places that the Malbim explicitly goes into lengthy Kabbalistic discussions, that the Malbim often bases his explanations on divrei sod, on Kabbalistic concepts. And to kind of take what he says and put in a little bit of different terminology is that we exist in a dimension in which the concepts of right and wrong exist. And we are so entrenched in that type of existence that we can't really fathom an existence in which right and wrong don't even exist, where everything is good, everything is tov. And therefore it can only be from the perspective of Hashem, the perspective of Slicha, that Hashem, who can really truly understand everything that's going on and exists on a plane in which the concepts of right and wrong do not exist, that over there the Slicha can actually come about from that perspective into which the wrongdoing just simply does not exist anymore. And the Malbim goes on to say, that's why the pasuk says, "Leman tivarei," in order that you should be feared, because he says a person often doesn't want to forgive something wrong that was done to him, because as long as you can hold it, the wrongdoing, over somebody else, then they'll be afraid of you, because they'll know they already did something wrong to affect the relationship, and they know you have it in for them. So they're not going to want to, you're not going to want to forgive them in order that you can keep them in line with your lack of forgiveness. But it's only because of the fact that you are sort of like punishing them for the wrongdoing that's why they have that yira. But in the absence of the potential or the actual punishing that you're doing to them, there is no fear. But he says when it comes to Hashem, on the contrary, the fear and awe that people have of Hashem is not because of fear and awe of punishment, but it's of Hashem's exaltedness and Hashem's greatness. And therefore, actually, by showing that, so to speak, graciousness to forgive, that only re-emphasizes Hashem's, as the Malbim uses the words, Gedulascha v'ro mimascha, Hashem's greatness and exaltedness, then that will increase people's awe of Hashem. I just want to add, and this is maybe going a little bit different what the Malbim is saying, is that perhaps we can suggest that the Malbim is speaking about the way people normally behave, and that generally we don't have the capacity, and perhaps not the desire, to forgive in the same way as Hashem has. And we remain within our petty world of right and wrong, our petty world of wanting to hold the wrongdoing over others. But even though the Malbim doesn't say it, but perhaps we have the rule mahu af'ata, that it is our responsibility to do what we can to emulate Hashem. So perhaps the message for us this time of year is to raise ourselves up to a level of a higher consciousness in which we can see beyond the supposed wrongdoing, or maybe the real wrongdoing that somebody did to us, and be able to see it on the same plane of understanding as Hashem does, until we can offer a true slicha in the same way. Thanks for listening.